Viva! Viva! I want to in South Africa, I'm sure you have learned one or two things. Amandla! Amandla! Thank you. Your Excellency, the former President of Seychelles, Your Excellency, the President of the Pan-African Parliament, Your Excellency, the CEO of the APRM, Your Excellency, the former Chairperson of the African Union, Ministers present, Diplomatic Corps present, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am truly honored to have an opportunity to address the 5th APRM Youth Symposium and to share the solidarity of the Pan-African Youth Union, and on behalf of all our national youth councils and equivalent national coordinating mechanisms, I just wish to congratulate the Africa Peer Review Mechanism for such a great convening. This is the 5th convening, and for those that have followed the work of the APRM, started from Chad, when President David and his soul rest in peace, convened the first edition of the Youth Symposium. This symposium was supposed to give an opportunity to young people to find expression and to discuss on pertinent matters that border on the governance and development of our continent. But Excellencies, permit me to ask a few questions. UNICEF a few days ago declared Sudan as the largest humanitarian crisis in the world. Yet, we have leaders of the continent that are more concerned about trade, either than the catastrophe on our own continent. We have young leaders that are more interested in having conversation about what is happening outside the boundaries of Africa. Yet we have an existing disaster, and it appears we see nothing wrong with it. I want to use this opportunity to call on our leaders present, the African Union, the APRM, the Pan-African Parliament, and all stakeholders to be decisive on the matter of Sudan and other conflicts across the continent. As young leaders, Frantz Fanon made a very famous statement. He says, every generation out of relative obscurity must discover its mission, to fulfill or to betray it. What is our relative obscurity? Youth unemployment is our relative obscurity. When we speak about unconstitutional changes of governments, African governments often will bury their heads as if they are not aware of why we have coups happening. Of course, the young people of the continent are not excited about your leadership. The young people of the continent are not impressed at the kind of services you provide. The young people of the continent feel betrayed by the presidents, the ministers, and those that lead our respective countries. And so, as long as they remain unimpressed, as long as they remain disappointed, expect more protests, expect more revolution, expect more coups on the continent. And the young leaders in this room, we can sing the rhetorics of democracy, good governance, and whatever it is. The young leaders will support coups on the continent if our leaders do not stand up to the occasion. APRM is the foremost governance architecture but I dare say one of the most underfunded institutions within the AU framework. Why? Is it a lack of commitment from our leadership to holding themselves accountable? I lead the Pan-African Youth Union, and this is to the young leaders in this room. The first time that there was a formal arrangement between the African Union Commission and the Pan-African Youth Union, which was founded in 1962, 1 year before the OAU cell was founded, was in 2017, duly facilitated by our own man here, then chairperson of the African Union Commission. From 2018, there was an impasse, justifiably so, because the young leaders that have been entrusted their own organizations start by mismanaging these institutions. When I took over as SG of the Pan-African Youth Union in 2022, shocking, an organization that existed for over 60 years had no single document that reflects its history and its activities. You cannot talk about the governance of the country when young leaders are entrusted position of power within their own institutions and you fail to manage it. You cannot, you don't have the moral authority to hold anybody accountable when you fail yourselves with your own institutions. Today, we have succeeded in bringing back the Pan-African Youth Union to work with the African Union. But you have a responsibility in this role. And I repeat that after almost 7 years of hard work, an MOU was signed between the Pan-African Youth Union and the African Union Commission to renew the relationship between the two historical institutions. But you in this room have a responsibility to hold both institutions accountable on the kind of service, coordination and mobilization that they are supposed to take on the continent. You as young people in this room have a responsibility beyond criticizing everybody that leads you to hold your own selves accountable and to bring your sense of ingenuity to the table. We speak about Agenda 2063. How many of you in this room have taken time to even understand the principles and indicators that govern Agenda 2063? And so, I'm here to remind you that the Africa we want is not going to come on the backs of the European Union. It's not going to come on the back of Trump's rhetoric. It's going to come on the backs of our own commitment as young people to the development of this continent. It's going to come on the back of our realization that beyond all the atrocities, all the issues, all the conflicts that we see on the continent, that we have a huge potential of harnessing the progress of this continent if the young people in this room recognize that actively participating